Koepka and other people like that.
But you're making me think of Max Homa, who received the trophy from Tiger on Sunday, winning the Genesis Invitational. He's a local guy. He's
Genesis
from Valencia.
Invitational.
He saw Tiger on Saturday, and he
Thank
said
God
when
said,
he saw Tiger, he got nervous
let
and
us
couldn't
make
even say
man
hello. That
in
is
our
somebody
image,
who is a professional golfer.
according to our
He's about
likeness.
to win the tournament.
Exactly.
And let them rule over the fish
That tells you right there.
of the sea.
I mean, I would be. I
and
mean,
over the
we meet a lot
birds
of famous people. I've never had the
of
privilege
the
of
sky.
interviewing him. Have you? Have you ever gotten?
And over
I
the
never
cattle
have.
and
I would
over
be
all the earth
very nervous.
and over every
Very
creeping
nervous
thing that
to
creeps
meet him.
upon
He
the
is
earth.
one of those Mount Rushmore figures.
God created
in
man
sports. Okay, we want
in
to play
his
for you
own image.
Some audio.
Image of
This
God.
is from
He
the
created him,
dispatchers in the
male
area.
and
right after
female.
the crash, and you can
He
get a sense of the
created
immediacy of the moment.
them.
This isn't the 911 call. This is some of the communication between some of the law enforcement in the area. Take a listen.
Suffers multiple leg injuries.
Can I get a unit to go ahead and start blocking off southbound traffic from PB Drive North? Ma'am, do we have an ETA for fire? We have a...
respect our privacy, essentially. He is undergoing surgery with, quote, multiple leg injuries. We've learned a little bit more since then. We learned that he was not seen walking on his own. He was put onto a stretcher immediately by LA County firefighters who responded to the scene. And
Paul Kim is a golfer, golfed in high school, said he skipped some classes in order to see Tiger
February 23rd.
Woods play. And David Olson is another guy who skipped work to try to be able to take his family to see Tiger Woods. So people came down here very quickly once the news spread. Another thing that didn't escape me was the fact that it didn't escape a lot of people down here that tomorrow is 2/24, which is the one-year anniversary of Kobe Bryant's memorial service on February 24th of last year, and how odd they thought it was that this would happen on the 23rd, right before tomorrow, 2/24. A lot of people coming down here talking to me about the road, telling me, as you pointed out, that the road is dangerous. It's
him that he was wearing a seatbelt, that the airbag went off, and that the fact that the car, the Genesis, was also, you know, a modern car that protected him and helped basically save his life. So everyone is still out here. There was a huge media contingency. We are all waiting, not necessarily for the hospital to tell us anything, but just for the simple fact that Tiger Woods himself, we know, is behind these walls. So we're going to be out here as long as it takes.
Behind these walls.
We'll update you guys if we hear anything further on
He
his
built a
condition.
wall.
hey, Stephanie, just a couple of things. Can you confirm, and forgive me if I missed that he was taken to the hospital also wearing a neck brace?
We heard that he was stabilized. We had heard that he was. They did something to sort of stabilize him. And you know, when you think about someone who's been the victim of such a trauma, a rollover like that, they usually put them in a stable, unless I'm mistaken, and if I am, forgive me, but as I was listening to the news conference, I was hearing that they used something to stabilize his neck and his body, and so, you know, again, I will double check, circle back on that, but that was my understanding, was that, you know, he was put on that stretcher and he was taken here, not airlifted, but taken via ambulance.
That's how I interpreted it as well, Stephanie, as well.
You want to know how I interpret it?
If you and your
Not
photographer
like that.
can show us this from the perspective you're in, but it may be interesting for folks that were not watching earlier to get a sense of just how much media is there, how much company you guys have now.
So I am here. This is the hospital entrance off Carson in Torrance, and we got here, it was just before 12:30. We were actually the first media crew on scene here. That's why I'm right here front and center. It was a little surprising to me because I you know, pulling up to these things, Alex, and you guys know, being in the field, you know, you're always looking for your colleagues, thinking
up on a flatbed.
Hey, look, it's a
tow
2-3
truck,
bypass.
and they took it off. Since then, Hawthorne Boulevard has reopened, as we saw just a moment ago, in his head cover for his clubs.
Yeah, and the deputy had his phone because of what happened there too.
Right.
All right, it is now 4:30, and we want
golf
to
club is sticking
welcome
out.
those of you that are just joining us, that may have been joining us for TMZ. We continue our continuous team coverage right.
He's undergoing surgery right now. Woods was wearing seatbelt, not standing on his own. Okay. Calm and lucid. You stand to win everything.
Right on the border of Rolling Hills Estates and Rancho Palos Verdes, the crash involving Tiger Woods and that SUV you just saw moments ago, heading down Hawthorne Boulevard, lost control, rolled several times before landing upside down. He suffered multiple leg injuries. As far as we know, he was stable. He was conscious when first responders first
I know, yeah, like it's all about that.
Condition. He did undergo surgery today. We don't know if that has finished at Harbor UCLA Medical Center, where we just heard from Stephanie Stanton.
Yeah, we know that he was in surgery. We have not been given an update whether it is over or whether it is not over. Or
I have another video. It's more of a a question video. Excuse me. I don't know if the enemy is attacking me or not, but my throat is not wanting to cooperate. So anyways, the Jews asked Pilate that their legs be broken. And
on this version upside down, it's a sheep as well. There's the ear, there's the ear, there's the eye, there's the eye. So they don't have an original thought. They like
23.
to do a lot of dead sheep. And I've had this happen on multiple occasions where people drew pictures of me and handed it to me, and there's a dead sheep on top of my head. He's no longer with us.
Now that I'm looking at this, now that I'm looking at her and looking at him, and I'm looking at this, he created him male and female.
How do you tell a child their mommy's no longer with us?
Mauser was handpicked by Bryant to be his assistant coach.
It has like the same nose.
And as a result of that, we believe this pilot was flying under what's called special VFR, special visual flight rules. As he was flying, he had to check in with air traffic control, and he was looking at landmarks on the ground, including the highways. But then that fog and the cloud cover got thicker and thicker, and he at some point began to climb into that cloud base, we believe, and then
So the helicopter burned, and that's how they died.
Here, LeBron, breaks his record, and he passes today. And for all of us, for me, I grew up a diehard Laker fan, always have been my entire life, and that's all I remember. And he was part of the most historic franchise in all of the NBA. As I was telling Amanda, I mean that what made him so impressive is that he was dominant on the offensive side. Okay, yeah, we know that. But he'd lock up on D. I mean, he'd play their best guard, and that's what made him so special. He played both ends of the court, and there are maybe 2 guys or 3 guys in entire NBA history that you can say that would do that. He was up for that challenge, and one of the more impressive things that I've ever witnessed is when he ruptured his Achilles and went to the foul line.
On the golf course, what will you remember most?
Remember, he burned, according to the script.
About him as a player, but most importantly, as a man and father.
The fire. He burns so competitively hot, and the desire to win. He brought
usually in like constant pain until this is fixed, or do you even know that when you talk to him? Is it
well, if you go back to 2017, he was in constant pain. I mean, this guy has had a number of back injuries over the years. I don't know how many people have actually watched the Tiger Woods documentary that is airing right now. Part of his career, he's always wanted to be like in the military, so he went with. Some military guys, the Green Berets, and guys like that, and they did, he parachuted.
He parachuted. What is a parachute? Well, from what I've learned over these times, a parachute is something that you turn inside out and create space force, but you're You're keeping them. You're keeping them. You're keeping everything. You're just concealing it. And I can't, nothing comes to mind. Except for it's a U. Maybe that's a pigtail, swine.
He was taken here to Harbor UCLA, where he underwent surgery for those leg injuries. Again, as you both said, we're hearing compound fractures in his legs. Again, we haven't had
Fractures
an update
in the legs.
on surgery.
So his legs were busted.
Welch, thank you so much for that.
All right, joining us now is Dr. Alp Arkin. He is an ER physician with Kaiser Permanente. Doctor, can you hear us okay?
Kaiser, huh? Yes, like Joe Kaiser?
Thank you very much for having me.
So,
no problem,
let's talk about, I know you don't know the specifics of Tiger Woods' injuries, but could you explain for our viewers, I mean, you know, somebody breaks a leg or they get a compound fracture. What is the difference, or is it the same thing?
Well, I mean...
Well, if they break the leg, then that just means that they had to break the legs because Christ already died to the world, so they didn't have to break his legs. But the thieves on the cross, well, they broke their legs.
A fracture is a break, so it is the same thing. It just depends how significant the fractures are, and I think there's still a lot of information that is unknown.
So there's a break, a fracture, same thing. Compound
Correct.
is it, to my understanding, is that the bone actually breaks the skin. Is that correct?
Correct. It can be an open compound fracture, in which case
Yeah,
you
it
do
could be
have
open.
bone that does break the skin.
It can pierce
And what is the recovery typically on something like that? I guess it depends on the body part.
It does. It depends on the body part.
Depends on which body part we would be talking about.
Obviously, it depends on how many fragments there are. And, you know, our orthopedic surgeons
yes,
are really good at what they do, and I've seen them do
that.
amazing things. And so it really does depend on the extent of the injuries, how and if it's even possible to put it back together the way it was before, and even if that's the case, how long the recovery is going to be and what the level of function is going to be afterwards.
So the femur bone is the largest bone, right, in the body?
Yes.
Correct, and a really tough one to break.
Okay, interesting. So maybe he didn't break that. Maybe he broke a lower bone or a different bone.
Yeah, a different
so
bone.
it's really hard to say.
Maybe he broke.
Yeah. So when the paramedics arrive on the scene,
and so it really does depend on the extent of the injuries, how and if it's even possible to put it back together the way it was before, and even if that's the case, how long the recovery is going to be and what the level of function is going to be afterwards.
So the femur bone is the largest bone, right, in the body?
Correct, and a really tough one to break.
Okay, interesting. So maybe he didn't break that. Maybe he broke a lower bone or a different bone.
So when
it's really hard to say.
Yeah, so when the paramedics arrive on the scene, I know you don't have the advantage of having been there when this happened, but they arrive on the scene, you know, judging by the way the vehicle looked after the accident, you can't really see what's going on, you know, with his lower extremities. So how careful do they have to be when they extract somebody from a vehicle like that?
So, you know,
pretty careful. They have to use the jaws of life in order to clamp down him, just like Miley Cyrus?
They have to be very careful. And the first thing they'll do when they get on scene is to make sure that the scene is safe. I had the benefit of working as an EMT in the before I got to be an emergency physician. There's no leaking toxic fluids from the vehicle and so forth. And then when they approach the vehicle, they want to make sure that they cover the very basics of human life support, which is the victim breathing? Are they conscious? Are they awake?
Life.
If you ask them, hey, how are you doing, sir? And they answer, I'm okay, you've immediately assessed that they're breathing and they're conscious and they're alert and oriented and able to respond to you. So you know that whatever's going on below what you cannot see, you at least know that at that point in time, they're getting enough circulation to be able to formulate sentences. At that point, they may not be able to even tell you that something hurts, that's broken, other than the obvious. And so the paramedics will do a good job of actually securing their neck with a collar device while they're still in the vehicle and as they're cutting out the victim. And once they get them out, absolutely, they very methodically and carefully place the victim onto a board that's rigid and straight to protect their back. So protecting.
Like in the altar, the front part of the St. Peter's altar, where Basilica, the front part where they do the sacrifice.
The neck and the back is of paramount importance, and the paramedics and the firefighters are really good at making sure that they do this in a very careful, methodical way in order to prevent any damage.
Police say Woods needed to be removed from vehicle with the jaws of life. Kind of the same thing there. I'm looking to see if he hit. There you go. There's what happened. Here's what happened to Tiger Woods.
Superhero version of us, and so it's just it's odd, you know, Matt, when you feel
8TO, like Toto 8500. I don't know, LIC. You see?
Feel so, you know, personally connected to this story because you just want so badly for this person you know to be okay. I don't give a about Augusta or anything else. I just think for him.
This is upwards.
I just think for him and for or anything else.
And when you're being crucified up,
children, I hope he's all right, man. That's really it.
Because of what he's been able to.
It's spearheaded. Kind of looks like a bird flying up.
Now, that's the planning
required
from Fidelity.
The jaws of
Tiger
life.
Woods has been involved in a serious car crash. As you can see here, the LA sheriff said.
So what was it? So he flipped over, but the luggage landed perfectly with this mouth wide open, this jaws of life creature right here. It just happened to, I guess, just kind of put in kind of a nice, neat little pile.
As Tiger Woods was involved in a single vehicle rollover, traffic collision, and had to be extricated.
I'm just looking for the dead sheep. Where's the
life.
dead
This is
sheep
according
at?
To the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department and a statement that they just put out. Woods' vehicle rolled over this morning. It was on the border of Rolling Hills Estates and Rancho Palos Verdes. Hills Estates
real
and
funny.
Rancho Palos Verdes. The Sheriff's Department says that his vehicle was traveling northbound on Hawthorne Boulevard at Black Horse Road.
Black Horse Road. I happen to live on Black Horse Drive.
When it crashed. And right now Woods is at a hospital. He was transported to a local hospital.
Transported
for
for
his
sure.
Injuries. I want to bring in Christine Brennan on the phone. Christine, it's hard. Look, we don't know. We're still waiting for details on this. It is hard to look at these pictures that we are seeing of this vehicle and the condition it's in, and knowing that he was pinned in there and had to be extricated from the jaws of life without having some serious worry for the prognosis of Tiger Woods. Are you?
What is it? It's like a piercing.
Are you hearing any?
Here, the pictures are horrifying. This is Tiger Woods. He's 45 years old. He is one of the biggest and best names known in sports and really in.
I mean, from here it's looking like from this area, because it's got the white. It's all about the head of the sheep, just either being separated, severed, tongue sticking out somewhere.
And he has been a
or like the eye is there. The eye there now.
part of our culture now since the late 1990s. And so when you say the name Tiger Woods, everyone knows who he is. Everyone.
That means that impact on the front end of the vehicle came to a stop by
if it's a
hitting
rollout fence.
Right, you can see the.
Right, yes, that's the same. When you look at I'm glad you said that. When you look at the Philadelphia Art Museum, you look at the dead sheep at the very end. It hits a wall, and that's it. It's a dead sheep from that.
Is that what it is?
Just completely smashed flat right up to the windscreen. So that's the straight impact will cause that. You're not getting any deflection or anything of that sort. And then looking at damage on the back, kind of looks like to me that it may have done a tumble, basically head or nose over tail, versus doing the typical roll where it goes over the sides, because
the nose over the tail.
Roof is intact. You have that big piece of glass on the roof, and the windows on the side are intact. Those.
Hi, Lou. We, of course, just heard from authorities a short time ago. That press conference we brought you live, where we heard from LA County.
Hi, Lou. I'm Lauren, and Lauren Lister. And Tiger is lucid. He was taken away lucid and comfortable, Lou. And back to you, Lou. This is Lauren Lister reporting live.
County Sheriff Alex Villanueva, as well as the fire chief, on what we know at this point about this accident involving Tiger Woods. Of course, it's all preliminary. This investigation is going on, and it will take time. But we did learn that Tiger Woods was conscious when he was taken to the hospital, described as lucid. Also, the sheriff said there were no signs of impairment. Also, that he rolled over multiple times when he lost control, headed downhill on Hawthorne Boulevard, a curvy road described as a hot spot for collisions. Here's more from the sheriff.
And yet, his luggage was just placed neatly on the side.
You really want, but we've seen it to where folks have hit palm trees, let's say. I remember handling a crash one night.
The latest live here in Lomita. I'll send it back to you.
Would anybody have been able to send Tiger Woods my videos, letting him know that that this is all an illusion?
All right, Lauren Lister, thank you for those updates.
Look, when you suffered multiple leg injuries, is that not worded as multiple legs? Like 2 or more. When you're only supposed to have 2 legs. Instead of multiple injuries suffered to the legs, it's multiple leg injuries. Just doesn't sound right. But he is undergoing surgery. And that would be a pretty good reason to like disappear for a little bit while you're in the hospital. Like, no, I was in a car crash. Not even sure what that's supposed to be, but it looks like that picture of Kleck's with the tongue sticking out. I also seen him in a picture. He had his middle finger with a Band-Aid around it because it represents cutting deep your middle finger and eating the pain.
Argument that he was having at the time with
There's another tongue sticking out or something. Mouth, nose.
his then wife, but no criminal charges were brought against him.
Who's this woman here with the hat, with the winter hat, and eyes, the mouth?
In golf, but he was going to walk around the golf course, as the picture showed you.
Looks like a big mouth, but the tonsil.
Yesterday on social media, Drew Brees also was going to be a part of the festivities today for the golf show. So they were waiting on his arrival. So
yeah, it's a woman there. It's a woman face. How many people on the planet do you think thinks that this is the reason why that this accident is being shown on TV? That Tiger literally went into the hospital to undergo surgery. It's just not for the one that, it's not for his legs. It's for one of his legs, just not, he broke a bone. I mean, in other words, this right here means God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him, male and female. He created them. Now, wait a minute, where's his luggage at?
Having right now, when that will be complete. That
I haven't heard if anybody actually took his luggage. What? Like, why would you take his luggage out and then just sit it over here and let it stay there? Because that is
information coming out
right
from
now,
his agent.
There's
about,
no luggage.
Let's say an hour and 15 minutes ago, confirming that he is currently having surgery on his legs.
All right, let's go back to David Pingalore. One of our photographers has caught up with him there on the Palos Verdes Peninsula. And Dave, you cover.
Following that angle of this story, she's in our newsroom with reaction from friends and celebrities. Corrine?
That's right, Lou. Lots of celebrities.
It just looks like just a tangled mess in there. So
now the luggage only looks like a shadow.
I'm sure that is something that investigators are looking at there, but there no doubt is going to be a lot of debris still of kind of.
Or maybe this was at the beginning.
In that area there that they're sort of sifting through. You can see it right now. They're kind of sifting through some of the larger pieces of debris there. Yeah, likely a lot of parts that are going to be in this particular area.
Tiger has spent yesterday at Rolling Hills Country Club just down the road here shooting his My Golf series with Golf Digest, and there are a number of celebrities that are part of this. Yesterday, David Spade posted some pictures with Tiger. Again, Justin Timberlake, Jessica Alba was scheduled to appear. Dwayne Wade, former NBA player. So Justin Timberlake, again, maybe he was scheduled to appear today. But there were a lot of social media pictures that did.
The resort. Apparently, there was some kind of TV.
I'm not, this entire time on here, there's no luggage. I'm just wondering where, at what point. Oh, at the very beginning, there's no luggage. Up here, just doesn't seem to be any luggage anywhere. While the crane's there, still no luggage.
Exactly right. He came on the scene as an amateur, broke a number of amateur records. Then he came out and won the Masters in 1997 as a 21-year-old on a golf course there at Augusta National.
So, once you have a wide area,
peeking out. There's the luggage there.
On right into the cab.
You mentioned that
Sometimes the poles will continue on inside of the cab. It's looking like it's just looking out.
Anybody could even survive this.
So here's the crane. It's unbelievable.
We ran into looks like several trees there. That's what caused most of the damage. He's lucky to hit
You gotta watch out for those trees. My guess, they're there right now. Maybe they're taking the luggage out.
The ones he missed, there was like two of them sitting there together. We're actually getting.
So there was two of them sitting there together.
No, they're actually tying the car up so they can move it. With the crane being there. There's the luggage. After the crane? Before the crane? Well, this is footage beforehand. With the crane.
Was being shot out at Terranea.
This is the one here.
Which would make a lot of sense.
With the mouth wide open, the eyeballs. Here's the door.
Which was downhill, and residents say it can be a dangerous road. You're going to hear
Is that like a big crab on the street?
The vehicle we're seeing being removed by a crane at this hour. It was hours ago, about 7:15 this morning, that authorities responded to this single rollover crash. Tiger Woods, the only one in the vehicle, according to authorities. Paramedics on the scene by 7:28.
Yeah, there it is there.
Woods was transported to the hospital at 7:40, according to LA County Fire Department.
And this here is dogmatically a human being right here wrapped, like tied up with some kind of blue saran wrap. His legs are coming down here.
This can be a dangerous stretch of road. Take a listen. Paramedics on the scene by rollover crash. Tiger Woods, the only one in the vehicle, according to authorities. Paramedics on the scene by 7.
There's his feet laying down, like leaning up against it.
28. Woods was
Downed.
transported to the hospital at 7:40, according to
The Genesis SUV.
Did put it into that storage unit there.
Now, no, I see. So he put it into a storage unit. With Kobe Bryant, you see, Kobe Bryant died. In order to get to heaven, you got to become a bride of Christ. So as he's in heaven, he became a bride of Christ. Which would mean, in my view, that would be that. Mailing it in. And then, but with Tiger, he's still going to be around on Earth. So what is it? One group is promised to go to heaven, the other is promised to continue to live, but you have to stay here on Earth. This just might be door 237, and do not open door 237. I see. So there's his luggage hanging out. This thing here has these jaws sticking out.
Birdie Scott Reif is in Air 7 over it.
His plumbing's being rearranged, his mufflers. Hope he didn't pay a lot for his muffler.
Scott.
Yeah, we have a bad accident that occurred early this morning around 7:30 with this overturned vehicle on Hawthorne Boulevard and Black Horse Road in Rancho Palos Verdes. We're trying to confirm who was on board that car that overturned there. They're in critical condition, transferred to UCLA Harbor Medical Center. We believe it's someone famous. We just haven't been able to confirm that. We will work on that. But Hawthorne Boulevard is shut down in both directions here, and it looks like it will be. And now we are getting some confirmation, I believe, from the Sheriff's Department that it was Tiger Woods that was involved in that accident. So,
if I was to guess the dead sheep with a tongue sticking out, I'd say it was these two pairs of socks or whatever that is coming out, because there's like the white part and then the nose right here and the eyes. They said it happened at 7:12. So let's just see what 7:12 gets us. Egyptians understand odds. Kobe Bryant died. Son of the Most High. Pink Floyd. Pink Floyd is an awfully weird thing. It's just like a U. It's like a big ass looking at you. I would just have to say it's 7:12 is just referring to Kobe Bryant died in that sense, and then Tiger Woods died, but not in the sense where you go up to heaven. You stay here, but you continue on with your life.
Use the jaws of life to get him to use the jaws of life. Actually saying, and it says that this happened about.
But for now, Hawthorne Boulevard is shut down in both directions. It would be a lengthy investigation. From Air 7 HD, I'm Scott Reif, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Well, Scott, but before you go, I can actually tell you what the tweet from the LA County Sheriff's Department is actually saying. And it says that this happened about 7:12 a.m. and that it was Tiger Woods, that they had to use the jaws of life to get him out. And he was transported to a local hospital by ambulance with his injuries. That, again, is being attributed to the L.A. County Sheriff's verified Twitter account. So it is conducted. The investigation is being conducted by investigators. They're also saying that he was the sole occupant of that vehicle. And if I'm looking correctly, Scott, it looks like that is one of the courtesy vehicles from the Genesis.
Yeah, it's looking more like the tongue up here.
Invitational, which you can see the logo
Genesis
there.
Invitational. You know, what if this was like the king wanted people to interpret what is really happening, like why is it really this way? And this is just out there. It's out there for everybody to look at. And I'll say what I'm saying, and there's obviously groups of people that'll be like, man, you're turning into a clique now. Well, what I'm turning into is seeing the symbolism as to what it really means with what these people are doing, and they're actually literally doing it. Like they're literally falling for it because of the fear. And it's all psyop. Get a little bit closer to the cow. The cow sheep mouth, tongue open here, eyeball going down like that. And even this one here looks more like maybe like a gorilla-ish with the eye here, and then what comes out of the opening is right here, and then this is leaning over with its mouth open. It's all about the mouth opening and swallowing you up.
And that he's been cut out with the jaws of life and taken to the hospital.
He's been cut out, the jaws of life, the jaws, the bear trap.
So I wanted to give you that information since that was on the Twitter page here.
Look like two F's at a moment at first glance. It's hard to see this from here, but earlier, this eyeball here.
And that he is in surgery.
It's hard to see on this. I was watching it earlier in the house. It was more prominent with the being able to see the eye.
So, you know, Tiger's 45 years old. He has been talking about trying to make it back for the Masters, which is in about, 5-6 weeks' time. And he won the Masters in 2019, one of the more improbable stories in sports history, coming back after so many problems, injuries, surgeries, personal scandals.
All the pictures are purposely there because he's kissing it goodbye.
Now the focus is on his health and is he okay? But there's great
right there, he's showing you how much it hurts.
Concern, of course, right now for Tiger Woods.
There sure is. And Ryan, what do we know about where he was coming from or where he was going?
Yeah,
well, we know where he was coming from, but it's a matter of where is he going to be coming from in the future.
Diane, I think the big concern is for his safety and for how he's doing right now. I mean, just as Christine was talking about, he's really undergone a career renaissance. This is a guy who not only, as you said, won the Masters in 2019, but at the end of last year really had a special moment at the PNC Championship with his son, showing a different side of Tiger Woods, the side of Tiger Woods, it's the dad, the side of Tiger Woods where golf is part of his life, but not everything in his life. So we're still learning all the details about
sweat down the side of the face like Obama.
How this situation actually unfolded, but I think now the concern is for his safety, his well-being as he is in surgery.
And Christine, we know he's had issues, a lot of issues with his back over the past few years, and just recently he was recovering from another back surgery. What was the latest on that?
Yeah.
Oh, look at what,
It was his fifth back surgery. Tiger is 45, but really has a body that skews much, much older just because.
It looks like some kind of Masonic handshake almost.
Of all of the pain, the injuries, the difficulties with his back, with his legs over the years, neck injuries, neck fusion, etc.
There you go. So he cut the middle of his finger deep and is eating the pain. So if he's eating the pain, then that represents cutting out the heart of your cake and eating it. Right, Marina?
To recover from that he had no timetable when he was asked about a plan. What's your plan for coming back?
This just looks like a snake's mouth coming up out of the ground, like a hole. I mean, I do see a check. Check. We got that one. Yep, check. Check off Tiger. You know how Johnny would explain the pin for the parachute if it's up, if it's down, but if it's up, so you got to get crucified up. Check. When you have that around your middle finger and you cut that deep, because that's what he did, he cut his middle finger deep and ate the pain. And if you're eating the pain, then you're eating the communion, and it's like the death of Christ, because you're just so excited because Christ died. You just want to eat communion all the time to remember the death of Christ. Instead of the life, let's remember the death. The death of the Christ, the Spirit, the eternal life, the bread of life, the spark of life. These houses here kind of looks similar to these houses on this, the lizard, reptilian.
Ran into a fire hydrant, and that uncovered a bevy of information about his personal life, allegations of affairs. It led to his divorce from his then wife. And then around 2017, after sort of rehabbing his image from that, he had an arrest for driving under the influence, which we certainly pray for the best for him. But
all of these events are just IQ tests to see where your IQ is.
As Christine said, it's tough to think about him coming back from
what do you
golf
see
with what's happening now, and you just hope that he gets through this surgery, gets through issues that he might be suffering with, and recovers as soon as he can.
And what is the whole big picture? The outlining. There's all types of pieces, and then it makes one big puzzle.
Yeah, you sure do. You know, we're looking at live video right now of officers there at the scene, taping the scene off, clearly getting ready to try to investigate and get, you know, the car rolled down this hillside. It seems to have hit a number of trees and a few.
Him from this SUV that they're looking at, which has since been removed from the scene on a flatbed truck. You see that tree that has been sheared there. They confirmed that the car hit the median. It rolled about 700 feet, and that indeed there was so much power there that the car actually sheared a tree, but that the interior of the car, as bad as it looks on the outside, the interior was intact. He was wearing a seatbelt, which they said saved his life. Here is what we know. Tiger Woods.
No matter how bad it looks on the outside, the inside is intact.
Saved his life. Here is what we know. Tiger Woods. The car actually sheared a tree, but that the interior of the car, as bad as it looks on the outside, the interior was intact. He was wearing a seatbelt, which they said saved his life. That the vehicle, as you can see, this is obvious, it did sustain major damage, but again, not to the interior of the car. And his agent, Mark Steinberg, has released a statement saying he sustained multiple leg injuries, that he underwent surgery this afternoon.
They know who's in this hospital today and what's going on inside these walls that are right behind me.
Something else that we confirmed, and obviously you're there in Los Angeles, and he hit the median. He was coming from Terranea, which is a drive, and he hit the median. He was coming from Terranea, which is a resort there, and he was on his way to Rolling Hills Country Club for a golf shoot.
Oh yeah, he went to Rolling Hills. He got to his destination.
From where he hit when he first struck the median.
All right, so this was at the beginning of the. It's like, here's the footage that they're showing you before they placed the car where it's supposed to go, and then after.
I think that's really what we're, you know.
So this is before footage.
I talked to somebody who was on set with him yesterday. Drive it like it is.
And then this is the after
and you're
footage.
going really fast, and there's curves, and the median, if you see the footage there, it's not like a wall. It's just like
It's
a
not a
raised
wall.
curb, so you might not even
Raised
see
curb.
it if you're going fast and you don't when you first struck the median. And so I think that's
Like,
really,
if it showed like a time down here, a timestamp, it would say like 6:30, and then fast forward, it would say 7:30 afterwards.
what we're trying to piece together what happened here. I talked to somebody who was on set with him yesterday. We saw all the videos of him and Dwayne Wade, and we've seen that. Obviously, this was
is
pretty
the
early
movie
in
that
the morning,
they
and he was going to the set again
produced.
from Terrania for this Golf Digest shoot, and then I suppose he was going to leave after that. But,
Golf
we're
TV.
still waiting for his condition to emerge after the surgery.
Yeah, a Golf TV shoot. He was kind of teaching something that had been in the works for a long time and scheduled, obviously, on the back end of the Genesis Invitational, the tournament, which was held to benefit his charity over the weekend. So, Ramona, listen, you reported approximately a half hour ago. So now it's 3:42 LA time. This accident happened fairly early in the morning. And you recently reported that he was in surgery. So I'm looking forward to your reporting. I'm sure it's really, really tough to get any kind of information out of there, as they made it very clear that Mark Steinberg and his representatives really don't want anything released on his condition right now. But I'm sure as soon as you know more about the surgery itself.
I'll tell you, I'll give you an update on his condition. He'll be fine. He just mentally is going through something right now. And this could have already have happened, and they're just demonstrating what they did. Either way, it's representing what it is.
We're going to begin tonight with that breaking news that's rocking the
rockying steps. Another way of looking at it, according to other people that would think that there's a hit out and somebody did this. It could just be an accident, but it's going to be all kinds of stories.
The luxury SUV he was driving
like a crap.
Skidded off a California road, rolling over several times before landing on its side. Skidded off a California.
That thing's reaching out from the other side. This is a big mouth, and these are the eyes. And looks like it's coming to get like two people here.
SUV he was driving.
They're like ducking down. No, we don't want to go.
Skidded off a California road, rolling over several times before landing on its side.
So the question is, did the luggage fly out of the car, or did somebody just pick the luggage out and just place it there perfectly? Because that's more like what it looks like, more. Because if it flipped over, luggage flings all over the place, obviously. But I don't think anybody explained that yet.
The car was so badly damaged, firefighters were forced to pull Woods out through the front windshield before racing him away in an ambulance. Tonight, police say it appears Woods was traveling too fast down a steep road, and they say it doesn't look like he was using his brakes. And while sources tell CBS News the 45-year-old's injuries do not appear to be life-threatening, it is not clear tonight if the world's most accomplished golfer will play the sport he has defined for decades ever again. Well, we have a lot of new reporting for you on the breaking news on tonight's other major headlines.
Like I can see where Christ said, didn't he say that your scripture says that he said that ye are gods? Because this is like gods. Like, oh my God, a car crash. Oh, he's fine. I mean, he's going to live. He may have a wounded head, but he will live.
Woods was in the LA area over the weekend hosting his annual golf tournament, the Genesis Invitational at Riviera. Later, meeting up with NBA star Dwayne Wade.
Tiger, thank you for teaching me something. How good am I, or how bad am I?
Good.
PGA Tour pro Justin Thomas became emotional in an afternoon news conference.
Man, I just hope he's all right. Just worry for his kids, you know. I'm sure they're struggling.
Yeah, because father hides his kids until it's time to be revealed. When you go through something like this, you know, you have kids. And they're going to go through it. They're going to go through it. Your children. But, you know, I mean, eventually you'll all make it to the other side.
Woods was already recovering from a series of back injuries, something as Jim Nance.
You feeling all right? I'm feeling fine. I'm feeling fine. I'm a little bit stiff.
This is the third car incident involving the 15-time Majors champion. In 2009, his SUV struck a tree. Soon after, revelations about infidelity emerged, losing Woods' sponsorships and landing him in rehab.
Oh, here's another revelation. We're at this time where this is what's in people's minds as to what they feel is that they have to do.
And in 2017, Woods was arrested and charged with DUI.
I think I might have found it. The sheep right here. The eye, the mouth. So if this is the top part of it, the eye and the mouth. And this part looks just like the exact spot of right here. This part. If I can turn it upside down. Because if you turn it the other way, then the ear being up here, but it's still the eye and the mouth.
And they also say the airbags deployed, and that really cushioned him during the accident, though they say he was not able to get up on his own. Now, the sheriff's department...
Because he was a child of Cain now. He wasn't able to stand up on his own.
Told me they do not believe alcohol is a factor in this accident, but at this point, they're not ruling anything out, Nora. They say it's all still under investigation.
From over here, they want you to see the eyeball at least, like looking in, like the eyeball there, mouth. This is a better closer up, the two eyes, the mouth. And this creature over here with the long, wide open jaw. See the M? That's looking a little bit more with the mouth open, the tongue, the dead sheep, the eyes up here, the mouth. Because it's white, like a sheep. The ear over here, the eye, the mouth, and the tongue sticking out.
Brennan on the phone.
The big eye, the ear. Yep. The nose. The other eyes over here. The mouth, the tongue. Is that the hammer? I think that might be the hammer. It may be the hammer is down and it struck the sheep and its neck, and there's the head. Poor dead sheep.
Christine, it's hard.
Yeah, we know. It's what it's all about. Yeah, it looks like a crushed face of a dead sheep.
Look, we don't know.
It's still looking that way, ain't it?
We're still waiting for details on this. It is hard.
I'm giving you details right now. You got yourself a dead sheep. Tiger. Go get him, Tiger. You got the eye of the tiger.
The hospital. He was transported to a local hospital.
Yep. My conclusion is crushed head of a dead sheep. Tongue sticking out.
For his injury.
But I'm sure just randomly that's how the luggage was thrown out of the car after he flipped like 1,000 times.
Injuries. I want to bring in Christine Brennan on the phone.
I feel more confident that it's a dead sheep head with the tongue sticking out the more I keep looking at it. Because obviously that's what I'm looking for, something. You could say I'm stretching it, but I don't think so.
Christine, it's hard. Look, we don't know. We're still waiting for details on this. It is hard to look at these pictures that we are seeing of this vehicle and the condition it's in, and knowing that he was pinned in there and had to be extricated from the jaws.
But what if you knew something different? Would you attach feelings to it? If you thought that what happened, what you heard, is what was the reality, and you attach feelings to it, opposed to thinking maybe it might be a different story. And either way, whatever story it is, doesn't matter. My story is using the jaws of life. Tiger. You know, I'm gonna keep looking at this, but swimming maybe? Is it a milk bottle?
Prognosis of
got milk? I mean,
of Tiger Woods.
I don't know if I'm gonna get this one.
Are you
Edward Scissorhands?
Hearing any?
A rat? Like maybe a rat.
To a few sources, I've heard nothing yet.
Maybe a rat, rat tail.
Obviously, this is, as you said.
Oh, if that's a rat and a carrot on a stick, or something, and this is the head that's crushed on this end, then people are gonna only his group of friends and people are gonna even know, and he could either be in on it. Either be in on it, on the joke, or it's like, this is what happened. This is what happens when you're a rat.
Thing.
Brianna, at this point, I am just talking to a few sources. I've heard nothing yet. Obviously, this is.
Well, you got to wait until I upload my video. I got to do some research.
As you said, the visuals.
Is that a hobo bag?
Are horrifying. Obviously.
Are you hearing anything?
Brianna, at this point, I am just talking to a few sources. I've heard nothing yet. Obviously.
Always looking for some kind of sheep somehow, with a mouth open. An axe. I guess maybe it's an axe.
Is as you said, the visuals here, the pictures are horrifying. This is Tiger Woods.
I mean, it's showing you 107, so first one was Kobe Bryant's death. Michigan. It's a bridge. You're gonna chase the money. Greece, Prince of Greece. This must be the fairy godmother. This tall tree here with the wings. Is this a baby? The nose is right here. The eye, the forehead, the hair, face. She got her arm up. The fairy godmother. Now it's kind of looking like the baby's kind of creepy looking. The arm is here. Is that a hangman? The sheep's coming in clear. Look like the hammer's been dropped, or it almost looks like that thing where the Roadrunner. He's always being chased by the coyote, and then that big iron T-shaped gazillion pound ton thing just drops on him and smashes him.
He has been a part of our culture.
Tongue, the hook, the nose.
Now since the late 1990s. And
I'm also seeing like a hand here, as if it's holding it down, and it's kneeling upon its neck for like 8 minutes and 46 seconds or something. And then because you always know that a serpent or an alligator or a T-Rex is also always trying to swallow up the sheep. Looking at a mouth right here, the eyes are here, swallowing up the sheep also. And because I know like the things I see before these incidences happen on, throughout the internet, I look and see similarities, that there's just something about the shadow of this woman here that has a similarity of this.
Woods, everyone knows who he is. Everyone knows his history. He won the Masters less than 2 years ago in an amazing comeback. Of late,
because it's also almost like the elbows leaning down. It's laying down like with the leg up somewhere.
he had back surgery once again. He's had a lot of injuries.
I'm just trying to figure out what this side is. It's hard to say what that side is. I think I found it now. The T-Rex eating it from this end here. This is the eye of the T-Rex. Because it's all gray. And the T-Rex has its hand like that on its ear, eating it. But it also kind of looks like a rat because it has like the eye lashes sticking out. And around here is the other part of the T-Rex's arm underneath, basically grabbing his tongue out of his mouth, biting his head off, and grabbing like his tongue from around the front with like a backpack on him. Could be whispering in his ear, holding his tongue, telling him, shut up. Now the only way I can see this is by having almost a solid color behind it, but fading into the next scene. That way you can see what the whole outline of the image is, and then what's the different colors. Because this is all red, but you see the white, you see the eyelashes sticking out the eye, and then you see the gray in this reptilian here. So it's either eating the brain out of this rat, sheep, or whispering in its ear, or I just have quite an imagination. Because in his father's house, his father says he has many mansions for him.
PGA tournament over the last few days. And so to see this, it's just horrifying. And when you hear the jaws of life, that he had to be extricated, Brianna, with the jaws of life, all of a sudden you think of the athlete and this incredibly powerful.
As soon as I hear the jaws of life, I just hear the Miley Cyrus.
Man. and then you picture the concern and the fallibility of this person. And is he okay? Forget golf right now, right? You just start thinking, is this man okay? Is he how severely injured is he? And what does the future hold? So certainly everyone would be thinking of Tiger and his family, his son and his daughter at this moment, and very concerned for his welfare.
Black Horse Road.
Yeah.
And so I just want to reiterate to our viewers what they're looking at now. This is aerial pictures of the area where Tiger
Fox Point
Woods was involved in a single vehicle accident. And according to the LA County Sheriff's Department, he was traveling in this vehicle. This is a residential area of Southern California. He was traveling, but you can see there's also, there's also a lot of sort of a natural environment right there off the road. And this was a single.
In all likelihood, it's not a natural
vehicle he was traveling in, and it
setup.
rolled over while he was traveling northbound on this road. If you're familiar with the area, it's Hawthorne Boulevard.
There is no evidence right now, obviously, that what I just mentioned has anything to do with what we're seeing on the screen.
Anything to do with what we're seeing
but
right here.
that was in his life, and that was, 4 or 5 years ago. And
If I would conclude, I would have to say it's a rat. And the Grim Reaper is coming for the rat. Could be a bird. I mean, it has wings. Looks like it has a pair of wings here. Is that enough to be a scorpion sting, or does it have to be more on a sharper angle? Could pass for a broken leg, because that's what happened. And this is a leg, and it's broken.
And this is a new detail that we have just learned. They say that he has injuries that are moderate to critical. So these are injuries that are moderate to critical, Christine, which, tells us something. We don't know exactly what the injuries are, but this is serious. You can tell by the accident it's serious, but now we're getting confirmation from LA County Fire. He is in the hospital with injuries that are moderate to critical. We are still awaiting details on exactly what that is. I also just want to add here, Christine, according to Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, this obviously occurred this morning. It occurred at 7:12 a.m. approximately West Coast time.
Is this the black sheep from this end? Black sheep head?
Course of December, those images we reported on at the time, the tournament with his son Charlie playing golf, looking an awful lot like his dad.
Yeah, I remember I was at work with Charlie, the supervisor. The one that told me the story about the thing that happened the day after that it happened with me personally. The other day he was like, it's something about some movie. Like, yeah, it's the Son of Satan movie. Like, yeah. Right. Gotcha, Charlie. Charlie on Black Horse.
Just yesterday, Woods with NBA legend Dwayne Wade. Wade posting this video on Instagram. At this hour, of course, we await more on Tiger Woods' condition, and ABC's chief national correspondent Matt Gutman leading us off tonight from the scene in California.
Tonight, those gutting images.
Leading us off tonight from the scene in California.
Tonight, those gutting images.
Now we are getting some confirmation, I believe, from the Sheriff's Department that it was Tiger Woods that was involved in that accident.
A one-car rollover accident just after 7 a.m.
If this would move out of the way, it's looking more like a black sheep on this end.
It was Tiger Woods that was involved in that accident.
A one-car rollover accident just after 7 a.m. near Los Angeles. The car flipped over and crushed. First responders reportedly using an axe and another tool to pull out the windshield. It took first responders about 6 minutes to get to the scene after the first 911 call.
No skid marks, no braking. So apparently the first contact was with the center median, and from there then crossed into the opposing lane of traffic, hit the curb, hit a tree, and there was several rollovers during that process.
Final round of the Masters. You going to be there?
Gotta hope so. I got to get there first.
You feel like
a lot of it is based on my surgeons and my doctors and my therapists, and making sure that I do it correctly, and this is the only back I got.
Former NBA star Dwayne Wade posting this video on the course with Woods yesterday.
I say the GOAT, he's not comfortable with it, but that opportunity to come out here with this guy right here, man.
For many years, the #1 golfer in the world, and the accident comes after a powerful HBO documentary that tells the arc of his life, the history made, and the deep personal struggles he faced. It shows him when he was a toddler, watching his father hit balls into a net in the garage, showing off his skills on the Mike Douglas Show.